What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. This is the Draftkings picks and prediction show for UFC 291. We have Dustin Poirier going against Justin Gaethje, a stacked card from top to bottom. We have 12 fights, 12 absolute bangers. Typically on a card, you'll be like, there's a bathroom break fight or a smoke break fight. Like, for example, I don't know, the Chelsea Chandler, Norman Dumont fight a couple weeks ago. This card doesn't have one of those. I'm looking forward to every single fight on this card. I think it's going to make for some, good DraftKings scores, good DraftKings lineups. So I can't wait to talk about it with the three guys here. We got Weezy, Monk, and Gordo. We'll kick it to you first. Weezy, what is up? Are you looking forward to UFC 291?
Yeah, it's a hell of a card. 12 fights. I like these 12-fight cards. We don't have to go 15 fights deep. It makes my head hurt when we have to do that. So I do really like this card from a betting perspective, also from a DraftKings perspective. I put together a lineup I really like, and there are a number of different ways that you can go this week. So good quality fighters up and down the card make for good DraftKings options for all of us players. So I'm really looking forward to breaking it down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got Monk in the building. Are you looking forward to some UFC 291?
Absolutely. We got, like you said, I think we got a concentrated dose of, 12 fights, a few less than 15, but every name on here brings excitement for the most part, whether they're knocking people out, gouging eyes or whatnot. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Got some absolute bangers here and excited to get into it with you.
Yes, sir. Last but not least, we got Gordo. Gordo, how you feeling about this card this week?
No, I'm excited, man. It should be a very fun one. A lot of external factors are taken into consideration with the elevation, the short notice replacements, but it is bound to be a fun one, and I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about it. Let's do this.
Yes, sir. Before we get into, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. We go live every Wednesday at 9 o'clock Eastern time, and I probably should be at a doctor right now. I was doing a workout just a couple hours ago. I was sparring with one Bob, and I have like the extended Bob where you don't just have the upper half, you have the lower half as well. And I went to land a very heavy leg kick, and the leg kick missed the padding, and it hit the bottom of the Bob right there. And I think I probably broke my foot. It looks like a bone is like sticking out just a little bit. I was able to fight through it, finish my workout, but it is hurting as we speak. So probably should be getting it checked out. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. But it was a heavy leg kick, and Bob must have checked it.
Oh God, yeah. Leg kicks are nasty, dude. That's why like Valentina Shevchenko said it a while ago. I don't like that technique. You're just as likely to hurt yourself as you are your opponent. God. Hopefully it's not a broken foot, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little swollen and red and black and blue, but hopefully we'll be all right.
Yeah, I hope it's not that either, man. I thought you were going a different direction though, saying you were hitting that Bob for a while, and then Priscilla Cachoeira told you to stop or something.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. That is hilarious. I mean, yeah, she is kind of like a Bob. There's a couple fighters like that, like Priscilla Cachoeira. Trevor Peek's a nice Bob, and then Chris Moutinho comes to mind as well. He was a Bob in that Sean O'Malley fight. But yeah, appreciate that only one. Hopefully, it's nothing too serious, but my goodness, it was a heavy leg kick. All right, we got Boogeyman in the chat. We got Sean, we got Jussie, we got Moneyline Mills, only one. We got Londo. What is up, everybody? How you doing? All right, I say we get right into it, and we're going to start with our fight to target. And this is hard because, well, there's a lot of fights to target on this card. I wrote down like 6 or 7 that I could pick from. So I'll let you go first, Weezy. What is your favorite fight to target for UFC 291?
Yeah, I'll just start us off with the easiest one. It's Poirier versus Gaethje. Obviously, you don't want to leave this fight out of your lineup. Both of these guys put up huge DraftKings paces, and it's over a large sample size. Though we've got 12-fight card. This is the only 5-round fight on it. Poirier scoring 4.04 DraftKings points per minute. Gaethje scoring 3.56 and allowing 3.54. So whoever wins this fight, it would be shocking if they weren't optimal, because this is going to be a violent card. But at the end of the day, these are the BMFs here, and they are going to put up points. They stand in front of each other. They don't sit there and hug each other on the cage. It's going to be all action until one of these guys drops. So whoever wins this fight is probably going to be optimal.
Yep, that's my favorite one as well. I think the winner probably puts up the highest score on the slate. Gordo, what is your favorite fight to target for this week?
Yeah, I tried to find one a bit more obscure because I knew that wouldn't be talked about. That fight is an amazing one. Poirier Gaethje. I know there's a lot of others talk about as well. Give me Jake Matthews, Darius Flowers. There are some other ones to target as well, but I do think this one is one that has a very, very high ceiling, and it's also going a bit overlooked this week. Jake Matthews got 9.3K, who just had a very underwhelming performance. Not someone that people are very high on recently, but he's going to have so many advantages in this spot that he could go out there and live up to his price tag at 9.3 at lower ownership. He has a ton of, he's going to have the cardio upside for sure. He's going to have the grappling upside. He's going to have more volume here as well. But flip side of things, Darius Flowers, which is path to victory, it's an early finish. We saw his cardio can't hold up over the stretch, so he's going to have to go out there and get a finish. And at 6.9K, that's going to really throw a wrench into a lot of the optimal lineups there. So I do think this is one you're going to have to look to target, and it's going to be one that's probably going to go a bit overlooked compared to the other ones these guys are going to mention around me.
Yeah, I'll mention kind of a low-key one as well, one that I don't think is going to be as high-owned as some of these obvious fights. I'm going to go with the first fight of the night. It's going to be Miranda Maverick going against Priscilla Cachoeira. Just because we got a striker versus grappler matchup, and you take a look at Miranda Maverick, she's very expensive, 9,400, but my goodness, like when she's winning fights, she is scoring very, very handsomely. 118 against Shanna Young, 110 against Sabrina Mazo, 98 against Jillian Robertson, then 109 against Luana Jojua. So she is doing very, very well in her wins. And this is a fight where stylistically, I mean, you can't ask for a better matchup for Miranda Maverick. If she gets this fight down to the mat, I think she's going to do work. I don't think she would take this fight if she, didn't think that she had a serious advantage when it comes to the grappling. So I like the Maverick side there. But on the flip side, I mean, Priscilla Cachoeira, she hits very, very hard for the division. She can knock out probably most fighters in the division. I don't think she's defensively sound on the feet or on the mat, but if she lands a big shot on Maverick, I know Maverick's never been knocked out, but Cachoeira does hit pretty hard. So if Maverick goes out there and wants to test her striking, she probably does get knocked out. So I think it's a great fight to target. And like I said, kind of low key compared to some of the other fights that are obvious targets this week. Monk, what fight are you targeting for this week?
Well, it was, excuse me, it was definitely that one. I also had Maverick and Cachoeira for a fight to target. I will pivot. We'll go with the big boys. This seems pretty obvious other than the last fight of the evening. It's Rogério de Lima and Derrick Lewis here. 11 fights total since 2021. Let's see. 6 of them have scored over, either them or their opponents have scored over 100 points. 8 of them have been finishes, and 5 of them finishes in the first round. 7 times out of those 11, either them or their opponents have made the optimal lineup. So by far, one of the best fights to target statistically from that angle. Also, Derrick Lewis, when he loses in 3-round heavyweight fights, gives up an average of 116 points. So there you go. And if Derrick Lewis wins, he does Derrick Lewis things, and sometimes he scores well. The earlier he finishes the fight, the better he scores. Other than that, he does absolutely nothing. I call it the Lewis line for a reason. He averages 2 points a minute, less than 78 per win in 3-round fights. So overall, I think if Lewis wins, big score. If Rogério de Lima wins, probably a big score, getting it done early in the first, possibly in the second round. So give me the big boys for a good fight to target.
Yep, absolutely. Another great fight to target. There's probably some other ones we could mention as well, but I'm sure we'll touch on them throughout the show. Let's move on to the fight to fade, which obviously is kind of a struggle this week. There's not much sticking out, but I'll start with you, Gordo. What is your fight to fade for UFC 291?
Yeah, I think no matter what fight you pick here, you're going to go a bit controversial to others, and I'm okay to do that. I am fading CJ Vergara versus Vinicius Salvador, and Salvador seems to be a very popular play this week. He seems to be one where people are liking him as underdog. I think the line should be closer, and I understand that love, but that kind of makes me want to be a bit different here. I think we have a spot here where we have 2 flyweight guys who historically have not been the best finishers in their own right. I know Salvador is a guy with finishes on his record, but we saw him go out there, be very tentative his last time out there. We don't really necessarily know what the finished product is for him. There are a lot of unknowns here. Flip side of things, Vergara, although having a huge cardio edge here, is not the most dynamic fighter. I don't see him having too many finishes in the UFC, and his style of fighting could lead to one that could be nowhere near the same explosiveness or finishability of the Semelsberger Medic fight or Rogério de Lima fight or Lewis fight, stuff like that. And for that reason, I'm kind of staying away from this range. I understand the love for the underdog, but I'm okay with going a bit different and fading this fight here.
All right, Gordo fading the Vergara fight. Uncle Weezy, which fight are you fading this week?
I'll go with the 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the week, Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green. Tony's been historically poor DraftKings scorer in terms of his pace, averaging only 2.56 DraftKings points per minute. He's on a 5-fight losing streak. He's attending Harvard Business School. And Bobby Green is criminally overpriced at 9,600 for a guy who has a 30% finish rate in his UFC wins. And he only averages 1.2 takedowns per 15 minutes, so he doesn't really grapple. He's a decent DraftKings scorer, over 3 points a minute, but he's not going to really wrestle here. And Ferguson's a fairly durable guy, even though it looks like he's not as durable as he used to be, obviously. So we could see Bobby Green get a finish, but I think there's much better options priced below him. So I think we could safely fade both of these guys.
Yeah, I went with the same thing. I actually think Bobby Green could score pretty decently. I think he can just put up a absolute clinic in terms of the significant strikes. But 9,500, I like Maverick more. Because I like the wrestling, grappling, finish upside from Random Maverick. She's 100 cheaper, right? You have Jake Matthews, same thing. He has some wrestling upsides and finish upside second, third round. You have Gabriel Bonfim, who can finish the fight at any second of the fight. So I would rather save $100, $200, and $300 than go up there and play Bobby Green, who, like I said, I think wins at a very high clip. I think Ferguson is all the way done, and this fight probably shouldn't be happening, but there are some other options I like instead of him. So I'll be fading that fight as well. And like I said, I'm not touching Ferguson with a 10-foot pole this week. Monk, what fight are you fading this week?
How can he be done, man? You said he's got 5 more fights coming plus a title shot. I mean, anything's possible, guys. Aliens are real if you believe Congress. So now, I mean, anything is possible at this point. This might be Tony Ferguson's weekend. Aliens are real. Tony Ferguson's fighting at 38 years old, 40 years old, something like that. Anything is possible. I'll keep it simple here. I couldn't find a ton. I agree with my colleagues 100%. I guess I'll give you Roman Kopylov and Claudio Ribeiro. I'm not going to be fading it a lot by any means, but Kopylov, where did my numbers go? Kopylov is scoring 94 points at the weight class, but allowing less than 80 when he's lost so far. Ribeiro did allow 95 points in his loss. I mean, neither guy controls even 8% of the grappling time they've been involved in. So I'm expecting a striking affair. If this is a 3-round striking affair, likely won't score very well unless one of these guys can, get a couple of knockdowns. And even then, how does that not finish for the most part? So I guess I'll be fading a little bit of Roman Kopylov and Claudio Ribeiro here at these prices. $9K for Kopylov, 72. I mean, the Ribeiro side's a bit tempting. But if I have to pick one at gunpoint, I guess I'll take this one as to not repeat anything you guys said.
Yep, fair enough. So we gave 3 there. We'll move on to the fighter to fade. I'll kick us off here. My fighter to fade is going to be Stephen Thompson, 8,800. I just think there's so many much better options than Stephen Thompson. I mean, I think this is going to be a point fighting fight. He's going to stay on the outside. He's going to pick apart Michel Pereira, get taken down, get back up, and probably win a decision here. Maybe a late finish, but 8,800 for a guy that's going to not get any takedowns whatsoever. A guy that I don't think has much finishing upside. Super easy fade for me at 8,800 there. Like a lot of people above him and quite frankly below him as well. Gordo, which fighter are you fading this week?
Yeah, I have the same circled. It's Thompson and Vergara, the 2 I'm fading at that the favorite price tag. And I wish I could go out there and tell you something different. Truth be told, there are so many high ceiling fighters that although I think Thompson has a decent opportunity there, I think his path is less likely than the others. There's so much finish upside, so much volatility, and I think this is one you can fade here and be okay with that. Don't have much more to add.
Monk, what fighter are you fading this week?
Like we said, not to repeat, it is a bit tougher this week to fade anybody, especially with just 24 fighters. But let me throw a little bit of water on the Jake Matthews fire here. At welterweight, he doesn't even score 3 points per minute at distance. It's barely over 2. Inside the distance, it's okay, 3.35 a minute. He is outscoring his opponents everywhere. That just means, nobody is scoring well for the most part in Jake Matthews fights, as he only has 88 points per win on average in these 3-round welterweight fights here. 55% takedown defense, only 1 first-round finish in his entire UFC career. Okay, strength of schedule. I mean, Darius Flowers, this could go a couple of ways. I mean, this could go the way most people think it will, apparently, with Jake Matthews kind of, getting it done. possibly dominating over 3 rounds, or possibly even a later finish. But if that doesn't happen, or even if it does go all 3, I just don't think he scores very well if he can't land takedown after takedown. So let me throw a little bit of water on the Jake Matthews fire at 9,300. I think if he was a bit cheaper, I probably would pick someone else. But like you said, man, I'm more interested. I'd rather pay up 100 for Maverick. I'd rather save some money, save 100, and take Bonfim all day over Matthews. But we'll see. So I'm going to have to pick him since he's so expensive.
Makes sense to me. Weezy, which fighter are you fading this week?
I am fading Roman Kopylov. I think the price is too high here for a guy who doesn't get early finishes and who doesn't historically go for takedowns. He's been low volume in the past, so I think especially this week at 9,000, Kopylov could be a pretty safe guy to fade. And not only that, his opponent is so powerful that I think we're going to see kind of Roman revert to those lower volume days when he was a lot more cautious, and he's going to have to be cautious against this guy Ribeiro, because that guy's just looking to take your head off or your leg off with everything that he throws. So I kind of see it being a slow-paced fight, and it takes a little bit for Kopylov to get going here. And I think maybe people are overrating his ability here because his last fight was against a southpaw, and we kind of saw him really landing that jab a lot against Punahele Soriano. It's not going to be open for him against an orthodox fighter in Ribeiro. So I think it's going to be a different style, and I think we're going to see the pre-Soriano Roman Kopylov. So I kind of like Ribeiro as a cheap option this week, and I don't mind fading Roman Kopylov.
Yeah, I'm going to fade him on DK, but you think he's going to get worse? I think he's made a ton of improvements.
No, I think he's made a ton of improvements, but I think that performance, seeing as it was against another southpaw.
I got you.
You know, because then when you're a southpaw and you're facing another southpaw, now that jab becomes a big weapon. That's not going to be a big weapon for him against Kopylov, and he shouldn't be trying to jab Kopylov, he shouldn't be trying to jab Ribeiro because something's going to be coming back at him much heavier than a jab.
Yeah, clear dogger pass with the Ribeiro side. What I noticed, and this is going to be a nice transition into the dogs this week, there's a couple dogs with a 100% finish rate. Uros Medic has a 100% finish rate. Claudio Ribeiro has a 100% finish rate. And then there's one more guy with a 100% finish rate. It is Uros Medic, Claudio Ribeiro, and then Vinicius Salvador. So there's 3 underdogs here who I'm actually all picking to lose. But from a DraftKings perspective, I will have to sprinkle some because I think if they do win, it is probably inside the distance. But if I had to pick a favorite dog, it is going to be Justin Gaethje. He is going to be my highest owned dog and the highest owned dog in general. I see this fight being pretty much 50-50. I do ever so slightly lean at Dustin Poirier. But with Justin Gaethje, you're getting a $400 savings here. This is a guy that's made a lot of improvements, has a ton of power. And I'm about 50-50 on this fight. I think I'm about 50% Poirier, 50% Justin Gaethje. And I think Poirier probably wins, but I think it's just a very, very well-matched fight here. Give me the dog and Gaethje. Uncle Weezy, who's your favorite dog this week?
It's Gaethje. I mean, how could you not like him in a 5-round fight here? You're getting at least 3 good rounds out of this guy. I think his recent form has just been a tiny bit better than Dustin's. Justin scores over 100 points per win and around 32 points per loss. Even in the last fight against Poirier, I think he was either at 42 or 46 points being finished in the 4th round. So, a high floor underdog and a super high ceiling underdog, 5 rounds. It's a no-brainer. It's a very easy pick to make.
There we go. Gordo, who is your favorite underdog this week?
Same thing, not much more to add there. He just screams at the page too much. So let's take my 30 seconds here to highlight a few underdogs who have incredible paths to scoring well, but probably won't do that. I mean, Derrick Lewis, his path to victory is going to be what? Another knockout. Not necessarily going to do that. He doesn't have that same floor that Gaethje does. Chiesa, his path to victory is controlling and holding down Holland for a lot of the time. Can he do that a lot of the time? Probably not. Nowhere near the same floor or ceiling as Justin Gaethje. Right. So, and then finally, Michel Pereira is going to have to be either being against a washed or older Thompson controlling him for 15 minutes. Does not score anywhere near Justin Gaethje. That just shows how much Justin Gaethje is going to be a decent play this week. And I've seen a lot of love for Poirier. Hopefully the ownership will be away from him, but still, he's going to be the highest owned dog by far.
Yep, for sure. Lots of underdogs sticking out, and we're all on Gaethje Monk. Do you like Gaethje as well?
Sure. But I'll pick Michael Chiesa here. 4.2 points a minute inside the distance. Kevin Holland allowing more than 10 points a minute in 3-round welterweight fights so far. 50% takedown defense, controls less than 20% of all grappling time he's involved in, does Kevin Holland. So like Gordo just said, I mean, Michael Chiesa has a clear path to victory here. Kevin Holland's fight IQ has been less than, great lately. Letting people up when he shouldn't, following people to the ground when he shouldn't, et cetera, et cetera. So I think Michael Chiesa can follow a game plan here. The score is pretty good. Kevin Holland, let's see here. Actually, I was going to say, Chiesa allows over 100 points, 101 points in 3-round welterweight fights. So the path is clear, and I'll just give you somebody different. Give me Michael Chiesa at 7,800 this week.
Sounds good to me. Yep, he's a dog that I have my eye on as well, although I am picking him to lose. He has so much upside. All right, let's move on to our prize picks. Then we're gonna start with you, Monk. What is sticking out to you for prize picks this week?
Let's see. Screw it. Just give me the Bonfim under 7.5 minutes for obvious reasons. I mean, it's pretty clear. I think he's probably better than Giles basically everywhere. He's very explosive on the feet, can sub you at any time. I think you mentioned it first thing in the show. He can finish this fight anytime he wants. And if that's the case, it can just, he can play this on his ground, just get it done. So under 7.5 minutes, I think is a very good possibility for Gabriel Bonfim this week.
Yeah, I think it does finish early personally. For me, I'm going with one that has moved. So I wrote this down on Monday. It looks like I had Poirier the more on the significant strikes at 72.5, and it is now 77.5. So it moved by 5, but I still like it here. I think this probably hits like late second round. I think this is going to be an absolute firefight. I don't see really much. I mean, maybe Poirier can get a takedown here or there, but even if he does, Gaethje's popping right back up. I think this fight primarily does play out at range. And like I said, these guys are going to hit each other in the face. These guys are going to kick each other a lot. I think these significant strikes are going to add up very quickly. Dustin Poirier, very, very high volume striker, and what should be a very, very high volume fight. I think Poirier hits this, like I said, late second round. If this fight hits the third, I think this is hitting. So give me the Poirier more on the significant strikes. Weezy, what do you like this week for prize picks?
Yeah, my play was actually more than 72.5 for Poirier, and it was less than 9.5 minutes for Semelsberger. But now both of those plays are off. You can get the 77.5 for the Poirier, and then for Semelsberger's fight time, I don't even know if they
took it off all the way.
Yeah, they completely took it off. So both of those plays are gone. So I'm going to give you another one that I like here. And this one doesn't make much sense to me. I think it's a really good play. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, less than 72.5 significant strikes. Let me throw some numbers your way, courtesy of your Uncle Weezy here, because this doesn't make any sense. Stephen Thompson lands 4.17 significant strikes per minute. So if he goes at that pace, he's going to land about 62, 63. But at distance, Stephen Thompson is only landing 4.71 significant strikes per minute. 4.71 times 15 minutes is only 70.65. So even if he hits his average and the fight goes a full 15 minutes, he still falls short. Add to that fact that Michel Pereira has got 61.5% distance striking defense, and his opponents throw a lot less volume than what the average is because he kind of skirts around the outside and he's kind of a low volume striker. So less than 72.5 significant strikes for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is a nice play this week.
And real quick, just to back that up, that's a great play. If you take out the 5-round fights he's involved in at the weight class, the numbers drop even more than that, like closer to 3 points a minute overall. And so I completely agree. Great call.
Yeah. And Weezy, we also talked about on Monday probability. I think the Maverick, the less on significant strikes, makes a lot of sense because she's going to want to grapple here. And I think
she has to grapple, right? I mean, she's not going to stand in front of Priscilla Cachoeira if she has any concern for her own health and safety.
Yeah, so I think that was another one that I wrote down as well. Gordo, what do you like this week for prize picks?
Yeah, it's scary how much we think alike because like Monk, I'm on the under for Bonfim, except for I'm on the under for 37.5 significant strikes. Instead, I'm going with another play as well here. I don't mind. More so the square side of things, but why not? Give me Rogério to Lima over 87 fantasy score. I think he's in a big boy fight here against a guy in Derrick Lewis, who is at the stage of his career where if he doesn't get that first round knockout, he fades down the stretch. I do think when you have a minus X 200 fighter at 87 points, who is projected to finish another distance, it should go over more than that. I think he gets it.
Yeah, I wrote that down as well on Monday, and it was like 81.5. So that moved a lot. But yeah, I think if he does finish Lewis in the first round, that hits easy. The first round bonus is 100 points, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
So I kind of think it's a first round knockout myself. All right, so there we go. We had the Lima more on the fantasy points. We had the Thompson less on the significant strikes. We had the Poirier more on the significant strikes, and then Monk, you had the less on the fight time for Bonfim. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Can we get a 4 for 4 this week, or we'll see?
Let's hope so, man. Put those plays together. You're cashing a 4 for 4. I mean, we're doing this. We're gonna hit this one.
That'd be nice. Yeah, I do like a lot of prize pick stuff this week. So hopefully everything and underdog. So hopefully everything works out there. All right, let's keep moving on then. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button. We have 66 of you in here. Let's get those likes up. Also, be sure to subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio if you do not. And if you guys have any questions at any point in time, be sure to put them in the chat. I will star them with a new star feature on StreamYard, and then we will get to them at the very end of the show. All right. Moving on, we have our favorite GPP play here. We'll kick it off to our Uncle Weezy. Who do you like this week?
I'm going to go with Gabriel Bonfim. Pretty square play here. I mean, Mahatina, he's got 100% finish rate in his 14 pro wins. He's a very opportunistic finisher. And he's going up against Officer Giles, who regularly displays bad fight IQ and is the kind of opponent that will leave the door open to find those spots to finish him. I see Gabriel getting a finish here, scoring in the triple digits. I could see him getting a knockout. I could see him locking up a submission. I mean, when this guy goes for submissions, he is squeezing with everything that he has, and he's got a number of different finishes on his record. He can get you a number of different ways. I think Officer Giles is going to be in a lot of problems here, and I think Gabriel is going to be a triple-digit scorer on DraftKings this week.
Yeah, for sure. And we always talk about, these buddy cop shows, Weezy. And it's actually funny that Trevin Giles was a cop, and I think it'd be a perfect addition to the Netflix series we're trying to pitch to Netflix there. Like you said, Trevin Giles leaves a lot of openings for submission. I'm thinking in this series, he leaves like openings for these criminals to get away. He catches them, but he turns his back and then they run away. Something like that I feel like could be a good series there.
I'm telling you, man, they got to start taking our calls over there at Netflix. We're trying to give these people gold, and they keep hanging up on us like we have no experience making television shows. And of course, we don't. Yeah. But it's about the ideas.
Come on, guys. Kevin Holland's on this card.
Kevin Holland.
Pair those two up. Come on,
yeah, man. He could be like the Huggy Bear on the buddy cop show. They like kind of like feeds the information to the cops about the lowlives on the streets, because he knows the streets, because he's like, out there in the streets,
It's Batman and Commissioner Gordon right there. Perfect.
Start taking our calls, Netflix.
Christopher Nolan, you're done with Oppie. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah, so we'll have to talk about that more after the show, Weezy. But Monk, who's your favorite GPP play this week?
I'll just pick probably one of the easier. I mean, Weezy gave my personal favorite, but Dustin Poirier. I mean, the highest ceiling on the card, has some great scoring per minute. In 5-round lightweight fights, he's over 3.5 a minute, outscoring his opponents basically everywhere. 110 per win. 100% of his 7 5-round fights, I believe 7 at the weight class, yes, have been over 100 points. I'm going to be playing a ton of Dustin Poirier at 8,300. This guy might have the highest potential value on the entire card of any favorite. Obviously, if Priscilla wins or something, that's way more value. But any favorite, this guy could end up with the best value. I mean, like I said, highest ceiling, one of the best strength of schedules on the card. Already beat Justin Gaethje once. I may or may not be rooting for Gaethje to win more than Poirier. But like you said, Brady, probably a 50-50 shot. But honestly, Poirier's probably going to be my higher owned fighter out of these two for GPP tournaments.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Yeah, I'm gonna get a little weird here. My favorite GPP play is going to be one Jan Błachowicz at 8,200. I just feel like if he takes the right path here, he could look minus 1,000. I think it all comes down to the game plan of Jan Błachowicz. He wants to go out there and test his striking. I think he could still win that fight. I think he could potentially knock out Pereira, but obviously the path to least resistance is going to be getting this fight down to the mat. And if he does, he's going to rack up takedowns, control time. He's a BJJ black belt. He's going to have just a significant advantage on the mat against Alex Pereira, who is still fairly new, with the grappling. So give me Błachowicz, 8,200. Could he get knocked out or outpointed to a decision? Yes, but it all comes down to the game plan here. So I don't mind some Błachowicz. I think he has some high upside, and so does Alex Pereira. I think that's another great fight to target. Gordo, who's your favorite GBP play this week?
Yeah, I like all those guys too. Let's take another square play, and I'm not saying his body type, but a bit as well. Give me Marcos Rogério de Lima, another play here. I think is going to be pretty chalky and someone for good reason. He's a heavyweight fights expected inside the distance very heavily, and facing a guy in Derrick Lewis, who didn't even land a single significant strike last time out, who has lost the last 4 out of 5, is not someone you really want to be back at this stage of his career. I think Rogério de Lima has finish upside here in a multitude of ways, and I think he has a very, very high ceiling on the slate. Now, it is Derrick Lewis, so there's always a world where you're able to land that boink, and that's why it's a GBP play here. I do think Lima has a high ceiling, though, and just as I mentioned in the prize picks play, decent shot there.
Yep, there we go. Another great fight to target. Somebody's probably getting served in that one. Let's move on to our favorite cash play. We'll kick it to Monk. Who's your favorite cash play this week?
Yeah, we'll go with who Gordo just mentioned. I think very chalky play here, Marcos Rogério de Lima. I already talked about the guy, so I won't take up a ton of time, but I think he just gets Lewis done more often than not in the first round, possibly even early in the second round. I believe every single one of de Lima's finishes in his career are in the round. So how Lewis has been looking lately, that would not exactly surprise me. So also he's allowing a ton of points when he does lose, like I mentioned, almost 113 on average. So give me Marcos Rogério de Lima for one of my favorite cash plays. Also, randomly, he's made the optimal lineup in 3 out of his past 5 fights, guys.
Wow. 3 of his last 5 fights, optimal?
Yes, sir. And now he's only 8,500. Again, a couple of guys down here in the 8,300, 8,500 that have a really high potential value this week.
Yeah, I'm loving the mid-range this week for sure. For me, I'm going to go with somebody Weezy talked about, I believe it was. It was Gabriel Bonfim, 9,200. I think he just has a ton of upside here. He has 14 wins, 11 of them coming by submission, 3 by knockout. He's going to be dangerous wherever the fight goes. I think he could knock out Officer Giles. I think he could submit Officer Giles. I can see a club and sub. I could see Bonfim hurting Giles on the feet, Giles shooting in. And if he shoots in after getting hurt, I mean, the fight's over shortly after. Bonfim, this guy's submission game is incredible. Very opportunistic submission artist. Once this fight hits the mat, I think it's probably going to be over shortly after, like most of his fights are. Even though Officer Giles is a black belt, he has been subbed twice. Once against Joe Mearshart and the other against Cummings. After getting hurt, it was kind of a club and sub situation. I kind of see the same thing happening here. It's going to be Bonfim. Like him a lot this week. And then I think we're at Weezy. Who is your favorite cash play this week?
The cash play I'm going to go with is Semi the Jedi, Matt Semelsberger here. I love this spot. He's got 10 UFC knockdowns. He's got crazy power in his right hand. And his opponent, Uros Medic, is coming off over a year layoff. He's taking this fight on short notice, up a weight class, and at elevation. So I see violence in this fight, but I think Semi is probably going to finish Medic in the second. And, it's a tough spot. I mean, Medic coming back from surgery, I think he had a broken hand. So that's what the layoff has been about for him. And it's a really tough fight to come back to. You look at the guys that Semi has been in there the last 5 fights with, and he's fighting really good guys. So I think it's a step down in competition for him. I think the fact that this is at altitude, and we've seen Semelsberger's cardio be fantastic, I think is huge here. And then you add to that fact, Uros Medic has never even seen a 3rd round in his professional career. I see violence here. I see a big score for Semi the Jedi.
Yep, I'll be touching on him later in the show. Gordo, who do you like for cash this week?
Keeping it simple, pick your side of the main event. That's what I'm taking for cash here. I think they have very, very high floors. I see a mixed opinion on the over or under this week, but I do think it's a fight where you're going to have a ton of volume both sides. I do think it goes longer, and you have these guys who have the opportunity to score very well even in losses. I mean, Justin Gaethje went out there and he scored 48 in a loss last time. That was the one that ended in the 4th round. Both these guys have really high floors and high ceilings to back. Fun fight and a good cash play.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, let's move on to our favorite value play, and I'll kick us off. I mean, it's too easy talked about for cash. For me, I think there's a lot of value on Matt Semelsberger this week just because he's 8,600 on DraftKings, but this money line just got smoked throughout the week. So I got him at minus 148, and he is currently sitting at like minus 220, I see, minus 225. So he's one of the bigger favorites on the card, and we're getting him at an 8,600 price tag. And not only that, I really like this matchup for him. I think Medic is, first round knockout or bust, and I think that's going to be easier said than done. Coming back up a weight class to 170 on short notice in elevation against Semelsberger, who has a very, very good chin. Semelsberger has been knocked out before, but it was a long time ago outside the UFC, and it was in the 3rd round. I think Semelsberger weathered this early storm, maybe even mixes in some takedowns, and I agree with Weezy. I think it comes in the 2nd round here. So give me Semelsberger. I think there's a lot of value at this point after the money line has just got steamed all week. Gordo, who are you liking for your value play this week?
Let's talk about Michel Pereira. We kind of mentioned it a bit earlier, and don't get me wrong, I'm picking Wonderboy to get this done. I'm just saying in a world where he's able to get off on his game plan, he could hindsight look like value. And the thing is, if this is end up being a 15-minute kickboxing affair, I don't know who I'd ever pick against Wonderboy Thompson, but the truth is the path to victory for Pereira here is either to find a knockout the same way Pettis did or find the chin somewhere, or massively improve his takedown offense, something that is a very high-scoring recipe for success here. So at 7.4K, his path to victory scores very well. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but when it does, could be some value this week.
Yep, it definitely could. Wheezy, who's your favorite value play this week?
I'll give you one hint. Hey, yeah, I like Ribeiro at 7,200. Like I talked about Roman Kopylov kind of maybe being a little bit overpriced this week, and I think Ribeiro is a guy that may not score a lot of points, but if he does win, you're going to be getting a guy that might score 100 points or more at 7,200 here. I think this is a decent matchup for him. He's got a ton of power. He's got great low leg kicks, and we've seen Kopylov have problems with that in the past. He's starting to round out his game. We saw a little bit of wrestling in his last fight. I think he's super cheap this week. He's got a ton of finish upside, and he has 100% finish rate in his pro wins, all of them by KO, and the 2 coolest coaches and best hype men in the game. And he can dance. He can flat out dance. I'll even put him up there against a Michel Pereira with his moves. So there's a lot of things to like about this young man. And at 7,200 with the upside that he brings, I think that's value.
Yep, I absolutely agree. Guy with 100% finish rate at 7,200. I will be having some myself. And then Monk, who do you like for a value play this week?
Weezy. At first, I thought you were going to say Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I thought you were.
I'm a huge Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
I thought that's what you were
man.
going
Come
for.
on.
Also,
Yeah,
who's better, Chris?
2x4.
Yeah. What about Chris Barnett? Dance off.
Ooh, now we're talking about Chris Barnett. Now that would be like Patrick Swayze versus Chris Farley on Saturday Night Live in that Chippendale skit where with Barnett, he may not have the technical moves that a Patrick Swayze does, but it's the effort, it's the passion behind it.
You can see it.
Maybe I might have to go with Fat Barnett there.
I love it. What a great comp that is. I'll keep it short and sweet. Alex Pajeda, good value here, potentially at 8K. I mean, he scored pretty well overall. I know his hole is obviously the grappling, but Jan Błachowicz is 40 years old, and legendary Polish power might not be quite so legendary anymore after the first or the past few fights, I should say. So if Alex Pajeda is able to catch him, I think he can pay off that salary, especially in the 1st or the 2nd round. So give me a little value shot on Poetron here.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think the winner of that fight could score very well, whether it's a Pereira knockout or a Błachowicz. Could be a knockout, could be a sub, could be a decision. I think the winner scores pretty good. And I think the winner looks like value for sure. All right. So what we're going to go to now is the dart throw. And last week, I was taking a look at my notes from last week. I had one Julia Stoliarenko. She got it done. and I'm seeing if I can go back to back here with some dart throws. I'm going with Darius Flowers 6,900. So yeah, money's actually been pouring in on Flowers all week, and the reason I think that is because Jake Matthews can't really be trusted at minus 400 where he opened. So yeah, money's coming in on Flowers, and I agree with it. I think Flowers has a path to victory. The only problem is, like Stolyarenko, I think his path to victory is a first-round knockout, and that's it. He's coming in here on short notice. We're in elevation. He's making his debut. I don't like that for him in this fight, but he's going to go out there and he's going to try to take off the head of Jake Matthews. We've seen Matthews hurt before. We've seen him knocked down, and this guy Flowers goes after it, and he puts together long combinations with so much power. So I think Flowers is going to be live for the first 3.5 to 4 minutes. If he gets Matthews out of there, he puts up a massive score and breaks the slate. If not, he gasses out and probably gets finished second, third. So give me some Flowers. I love the price tag because I think Monk said it. I think Monk said he's fading Matthews. I agree. I hate the price tag for Matthews, and I'll be taking some Flowers as a dart throw. Gordo, who is your dart throw for this week?
It's Flowers as well. And guys, we got to be careful. He might be listening. Fun fact, during his Dana White Contender Series fight, he was watching all the videos beforehand, and he actually joined me on my YouTube channel to break down his own fight. And who knows, could be listening here again. He's definitely a confident individual. And I think that's the best way to go out here is against a guy in Matthews who just dropped 3 times. If you have suspect cardio, if it's not necessarily the best part of your game, go out there, try to kill the man early. And that's your best path to victory. That's a dart throw, is exactly what you want to see. I do think his win condition scores very, very well. And for that reason, I will have some Darius Flowers in my lineups. I think that he's facing a guy who has flaws in his game. And although it's a fight as a whole I want to target, I do think Flower definitely has a clear path to the optimal lineup. It seems to be his win condition. It just depends how often he goes out there and does it.
I totally agree. Weezy, who's your dart there for this week?
Well, you guys beat me to the punch. It's definitely Darius Flowers. I mean, Chicago, stand up. This guy is a violent finisher. We know Darius is taking the fight on short notice at altitude against a well-tested, well-rounded veteran in Jake Matthews. But if Darius wins this fight, it's going to be by first-round knockout. He has legit power early in fights. I think Darius is very aware of what his win condition is in this fight. Starch this hoe in the first round and collect 2 checks. Flowers doesn't have good cardio, so he might as well just go out blasting like he's Yosemite Sam, fight like he's double parked. If he does that, he could score huge, and he could be low-owned. And if he's low-owned and he knocks this hoe out in the first, he's going to be absolutely optimal. I mean, like, this guy is the definition of a dart throw, a high-upside dart throw.
Maybe he won't be as low-owned as we think, because I think
we're all on the same page here, dude. I mean, he's the dart throw this week, man. I mean, if this guy wins, it's going to be early.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
Even the fights that he loses, he's just starching his opponents in the first, and then he gasses out in the second or third, and then he gets finished. Like I say, even the fights that he's losing, he's hurting people. So yeah, I'm going to be betting Flowers by first round knockout at the best price that I can find. That's going to be a sprinkle this week for sure.
Yeah, I'm betting that too. Also the Matthews 2-3. But yeah, I saw the Flowers round 1 plus 750. I mean, I think that's literally his money line. Imagine Flowers coming out in here and having more than 3-4 minutes of cardio. I don't really think so. So I'll be betting that as well. Monk, who do you like for a dart throw this week?
He also fucking tombstone pile drived a guy on the region. Tombstone pile drived a guy. Jesus Christ. Yes, it's Flowers, but I will give you the guy that nobody's picking at all, not just on this show, but in the entire, small little Twitter sphere Twitter sphere, X sphere, I don't know what the fuck we're calling it now, that we all choose to live in. Uros Medic over Semelsberger, I think, is a good dart throw here. The guy scores well over 5 points a minute in every category, has a very high ceiling, 115 on average. When he did lose, gave up 112. Obviously, I agree, first round KO basically or bust against Jake Matthews, but I think that first round KO is a definite possibility. So give me a little dart throw. It's more expensive than I usually like to go for dart throws. That is kind of a shitty thing. As we know, Semelsberger's now should be priced, in the 9,000s, probably at least close to 89, 8,800 instead of where he's at 86. So it's kind of difficult to get to Medic DraftKings wise this week, but I think there is potential value still.
Yep, I mean, if he wins, kind of like Flowers, I kind of see it being early in that first round, and he does have that 100% finish rate, so I think it's a solid dart throw. He's going to be very, very low owned, I think, just because, like you said, everybody's on Semelsberger, including me. So
less than 10% owned, well, 12 fights, maybe like 13%.
yeah, he'll be pretty low owned. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go over our lineups from last week. We'll give our lineups for this week. We will answer some questions from the chat. I have 3 starred right now. And then we will give our quick picks, and then we will head out of here, and we'll do all that in about 15 minutes. So if you guys have not already smashed the like button, 80 of you in here, which is almost to 100, which is nice. So appreciate you all. Smash the like button. Throw some comments, questions, or concerns into the chat, and we'll get to them very, very quick. So let's go to last week. So there was some confusion in the chat. I think it was either today or yesterday. I was like, I Monk sent in the scores, and it said that I was in first for the whole year. But he didn't see that Gordo did change from Molly McCann to Mockman Murdov.
I did.
Oh,
Which was whoa, like that was a massive
Big difference,
What the fuck? Double M to double M.
yeah.
Ooh, so that
Murdoch
was
goes off. Yes, Sean V, I did see your comment. 150 fucking points for Mr. Murdoch.
So
Yeah.
Gordo saved it with that change there. So in fourth we had Monk, we had Tom Aspinall 105, Andre Muniz 24, Johnny Parsons 118, Daniel Perez 17, Davey Grant 28, and then Mark Diakese 25. He scored 319.75. In third place was Weezy, Aspinall 105, Muniz 24, Farazayam 69, Davey Grant 28, Mick Parkin 68, and then Mark Diakese 25, scoring 320. Looks like one or less than 1 point more than Monk there. In second place was Gordo, Tom Aspinall 105, Mahmoud Muradov 148, Daniel Perez 17, Ashmos 14, Davey Grant 28, Mark Diakese 25, scoring 339.46. And then first was myself, Tom Aspinall 105, Andre Muniz 24, Johnny Parsons 118, Ashmos 14, Grant 28, and then Mick Parkin 68, scoring 359.52. So we all did pretty terrible. Quite frankly, I was kind of surprised I got first because I did very bad last week, but it is what it is. And now the standings have tightened up a little bit more. We have in fourth Monk with 9,754. We have in third Weezy with 10,080. We have second place me with 10,565. And then first is Gordo with 10,580. I'm 14.95 behind Gordo. We have Weezy, who is 499 behind Gordo. And then Monk is 825 behind Gordo. So Gordo, I am only 15 points behind.
Hey, you're getting close, man. Just make sure you don't kick any walls if you're angry there.
Yeah, I can't kick anything. Can't kick anything for probably for a while. All right, so we're gonna answer some questions. Oh, let's give our lineups first. Let's give our lineups for this week. We'll start with Gordo. What lineup do you got for this week?
Yeah, I was very much considering stacking the main event on this one. I did not end up doing that. Instead, I took Gabriel Bonfim up top. I took Dustin Poirier, Marcos Rogério de Lima, Matthew Semelsberger, and instead of stacking the main event, I'm stacking Pereiras here, taking Michel Pereira and Alex Pereira.
All right, we have 3 the same. Monk, what is your lineup for this week?
Yeah, I'll go Miranda Maverick. We'll go Gabriel Bonfim, Dustin Poirier, Alex Pereira, Michael Chiesa, and our boy Darius Flowers to round it all out.
We have 3 the same. Weezy, what is your lineup for this week?
I'm going with on top Gabriel Bonfim. The other favorites are going to be Matt Semelsberger, Kevin Holland, Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, CJ Vergara. Then we're going with Gaethje and Claudio Ribeiro.
I have 3 the same of all you guys, but different lineup. Up top, I'm taking Miranda Fear the Maverick. I'm taking Gabriel Bonfim. I'm taking Marcos Rogério de Lima, Matt Semelsberger. I'm taking and I'm taking Darius Flowers as well. So I decided to, I was either, stack the main event for me, or I can't pick one or the other. I think this fight can go either way. So I'm just going to leave them out. One is going to score very, very well, and I don't know which ones that's going to be. So for cash, I'm either going to stack it or leave it completely out. For this lineup right now, I have it out there. So let's get to some questions here. This one can go to Weezy. It's from Ryan. What is up, Ryan? He's saying anyone on this card live to get a ton of takedowns because they can't hold down their opponent, but can take them down at will, a la Mahmoud Muradov, 13 takedowns.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be Miranda Maverick. She's got the highest takedown prop on Prize Picks right now. Her opponent has got a ton of power on the feet, and Miranda will be stupid to stand in front of her and strike. So I got to believe that even at altitude here, Miranda's going to have to sell out for the wrestling early and often. And if Priscilla gets back up, she's going to have to take her right back down. So I kind of feel like the fighter with the highest takedown upside this week is going to be Miranda Maverick. And I think some people are going to be disappointed with Jan Błachowicz. You know, in terms of, I think people think that he's going to go out there and shoot 10, 12 takedowns. It's just not his game. So I think like Błachowicz is a guy I think that some people think are going to get, he's going to rack up 5, 6 takedowns. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to be at around 1 or maybe 2.
No, I agree. He only needs 1 to sub this guy, so I agree with that. And then another guy that comes to mind who can get a ton of takedowns, Michael Chiesa.
That's what I was going to say. Yep.
This guy can get a lot of freaking takedowns as well. So, yeah, Maverick, Chiesa. Anybody else come to mind? Gordo, anybody?
Yeah, I was thinking Chiesa mostly. I like the Maverick call too.
All right.
Depends on the game plan of Semelsberger. I don't think he has to, but
he doesn't have to, but if he wants to, he can. I don't know if this is a question, Victor. Oh, you do have a question here. He's saying this. How do you guys feel about my Prize Picks play? I have Błachowicz under 2.5 takedowns. I agree. I think we all agree on that one. I can see him getting like 1 or 2.
Can I give you guys some numbers on that from my Prize Picks analytics template here?
Yep.
How many fighters in the so we got a 205-pound division, and we're going to look at that 2.5 takedown number here. I can give you these numbers. 18% of fighters who win their fights get more than 2.5 takedowns. 5% of fighters who lose their fights at 205 get more than 2.5 takedowns. So 77 out of 56 fighters have gotten more than 2.5 takedowns in a fight. It's 11.74% chance. So, you know, when you're taking a number that's over like that, you better be damn sure that the person that you're betting to go over is going to be committed to the wrestling. And we don't really see that with Jan. He's just not an active wrestler. You can look at the numbers for him overall. He's just not somebody who's even shooting the average amount of takedowns for the division. So, I mean, I think that's a fantastic play.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I like this one better, though, Victor. Lima under 1.5 takedowns. I like that. I actually wrote that down as well. I think it can hit for like a multitude of reasons. I think it could be like 1 takedown, fights over type situation, or I think, you know, either guy can just knock out either guy. Anybody have any thoughts on the Lima under on takedowns? I wrote that one down myself as a play.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good one. I don't know how many guys are actually taking down Derrick Lewis more than once.
I think what's his fate?
Abdul
Latifi did it, I think, but
Spivak.
Yeah. That's a vampire. That's
with authority.
Yeah. We're talking about a man here, not a vampire.
Anyone like Green as a low own play? I don't hate it. It's just kind of hard to get to him because I just like other guys and girls like Maverick.
How's he going to pay that off? How's he going to pay that off? It's going to have to be like a minute 1 finish.
I mean, I think he can land. I think he can land like 200 strikes, something like that. But even then, I don't know.
Against Ferguson, you don't think Ferguson will be done before 200 strikes?
He's kind of tough. I don't know. So
hey, didn't you guys hear Ferguson's in the prime of his career?
No, he's
true.
No, he's not. I mean, he looked awful in the DS.
Take it back.
Awful.
It's weird because he let Charles Oliveira bend his arm the wrong way in half, and then he insta-tapped to a guillotine from Nate Diaz last time out. So I don't know where this guy's head's at.
He's got more losses than in his last 5 than Daniel Da Silva does. So, I don't know. Just saying.
We should book Daniel Da Silva versus Tony Ferguson next. Maybe get Tony back on track. Maybe.
That would be fun. That would be a fun fight, man. Da Silva wouldn't have to cut down to 125 too.
He can come in and fight night at like 140, 145. There we go.
That would be awesome.
Oh my goodness, that would not be sanctioned. Let's move on to this one. Can go to Monk. Why does Poton score so bad on DK?
My guy Dixon. All right, dude. So I saw this question. Basically, it's guys that just strike and don't get that first minute, even first round finish. Even the higher volume guys that only strike. So they don't usually score well. He scored 0% control time against Izzy in the second fight, 2.5% in the first fight, less than 2% against Strickland. 8.5% against Silva, less than 1.5% of Michailidis. All he does is throw, which works for him as far as winning fights and whatnot. But if you're only throwing strikes, you're getting 0.2, 0.4 points each time. If you're not throwing like 10, 12 strikes a minute, which he is generally not, he threw 9.6 against Strickland. Other than that, it's very low. If you're not doing anything else like taking people down or racking up control time, you're just not going to score well overall. So that's unfortunately kind of what it is in this game, which is why everybody's looking at Błachowicz this week to land some takedowns. But I'm with whoever said fade overall. I like to fade this one, and give me a little bit of Pajeda, but man, it's tough. He just doesn't score well.
Gordo, any thoughts on why does Poton suck on DK?
It's just that volume thing. I mean, you look at the point criteria, you get points for finishes, for striking volume, for control time, takedowns, and knockdowns. And in his last few fights, he's not going to shoot takedowns. He's not going to get any control time. He's not really the most active striker either from a volume standpoint. So if you're not getting knockdowns or finishes, you're not going to score that well. So that's why it's historically bad. But in this case here, when you have the knockdown, the finish potential, and that's really what you need from him to score well this week.
Yeah, I opened up Twitter and the first thing I see is Tony Ferguson talks about tracking a bear during training camp.
Like at Harvard Law.
This guy, so
he's not a rat. He's a Ninja Turtle. He tracks bears. A lot of animal shit going on with Ferguson here.
That's hilarious. All right, Dixon, another one from Dixon saying, "Oh, no, we already went with that one." Oh, this is from Alex. Weezy, who are your top two prize picks? I think you touched on both of them, but I think they're both no longer available or have moved, right?
Yeah, no, they were moved. So I'm going to give you Stephen Thompson, less than 72.5 significant strikes. And I mean, I still think that the Poirier, even at 77.5 significant strikes, I think he goes over that. I think that's a pretty good number. And then I also kind of like, I don't know if it was Gordo or Monk who said under 7.5 minutes for Bonfim. Yeah, I think Bonfim is just such an opportunistic finisher. I mean, they could go over 7.5, but I think that's a solid play as well. But I like that Stephen Thompson under 72.5 significant strikes.
All right. Yeah. And we gave, I think, 4 pretty decent ones earlier as well. If you missed that, Alex. So what we're going to do now that we answer all the questions, we're going to go through our quick picks, and let's start with our Uncle Weezy. What we would like the round, the method, and
you got it.
The whole everything.
Let's see here. Okay. So Justin Gaethje, knockout, round 4. Jan Błachowicz by decision. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, knockout, round 3. Bobby Green by decision. Kevin Holland, second round knockout. Gabriel Bonfim, submission, round 3. Derrick Lewis, the Black Beast, by first round knockout. Roman Kopylov, third round knockout. Matthews, third round knockout. CJ Vergara, third round knockout. Matt Semelsberger, second round knockout. Miranda Maverick by decision.
Gordo, who are your quick picks for this week?
I like those there. We're going to take the other way around this time. We're going to take Miranda Maverick by, let's say, round 2 sub. Matthew Semelsberger, round 2 KO. Vergara by decision. Jake Matthews by round 2 KO. Kopylov also by round 2 KO. Make that 3 of them. Marcos Rogério de Lima by not as hot of balls. Let's say round 1 leg kicks. Let's say Gabriel Bonfim by citizen's arrest. Let's say Kevin Holland by submission round 2, Bobby Green by mercy in round 3, Stephen Thompson decision, Alex Pereira knockout round 2, and Dustin Poirier decision.
All right. For me, I'm going with Maverick to get a DQ win via eye gouge. I'm going Matt Semelsberger first round knockout. I'm going CJ Vergara, 3rd round knockout. Jake Matthews, submission round 2. Kopylov, knockout round 2. De Lima, knockout round 1. Bonfim, submission round 1. Holland, submission round 2. Green, knockout round 3. Pereira, decision. Błachowicz, submission round 2. And then Poirier, knockout round 3. Monk, what are your quick picks for this week?
Oh, that citizen's arrest fucking killed me, man. I want to see the body cam footage of this Bonfim assault that's about to take place. Miranda Maverick decision. We'll go Semelsberger finish. Let's see, Vergara by finish. Darius Flowers by finish. Claudio Ribeiro finish. Rogério de Lima by finish. Gabriel Bonfim finish. Tons of finishes here. Chiesa by finish over Holland. We'll go sub in, what do we say, round 3. Bobby Green decision. Michel Pajeda decision. Alex Pajeda finish. And Dustin Poirier finish.
Sounds good. Lots of finishes.
Lots of finishes. That didn't happen last week. We're gonna rebound and get them all this week.
All right. Who is gassing out? I think there's so many gassers this week. I think Darius Flowers gasses out. I think Ribeiro or Kopylov could gas out. I think Lewis and De Lima are going to gas out on the walkout. I think Giles is going to gas out. I think Chiesa might gas out with all the wrestling he's going to do. I think that Salvador could gas out. I think Cachoeira could gas out. And I think Medic is going to gas out. I think we get a lot of gassers. And somebody else said in the chat, I'm sprinkling a lot of 2-3s this week because of that. Any gassers I didn't name, guys?
I think you got a lot of them now.
I mean, you named every card.
I named every single fighter.
You're not wrong, though. No lies detected, as the kids say.
Yeah, I mean, lots of gassers potentially in elevation, which is funny. I wonder if the matchmakers do this on purpose. Medic has a crap gas tank. Let's put him at elevation. Flowers, he has 3 minutes of cardio. Let's get him in there.
Yeah, how many evil laughs?
You needed Terrence McKinney in there.
Nick Maynard give out in those meetings.
Yeah.
You can just see the lights go down and his eyes get big. He's like, yes, put Terrence McKinney again. Whoever, you know what I mean?
Terrence McKinney, Daniel Da Silva.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my goodness.
Didn't Da Silva fight elevation last time?
He did, and he got finished in the first round by Victor Altamirano.
Yeah.
He finishes nobody.
Altamirano.
My goodness.
That fight was insane.
The gas out parlay. I love it.
10-fight parlay. All right. We did it. We went through everything here. Appreciate everybody hanging out. We're going to kick it around. We're going to start with our Uncle Weezy. Uncle Weezy, it is Wednesday. Are you doing some Ask Weezy tonight, or are you taking the week off because you're a golf trip?
Yeah, I got to wake up at the crack of dawn tomorrow. So, I've got so quick little story here. Went to go grab my duffel bag and, grabbed it and then smelled something horrible. Evidently, the cat has been pissing in and shitting in my duffel bag, which is my old duffel bag, which is now out in the garbage. So now I got to find other shit to pack my clothes in for the golf trip. But yeah, I'm going to probably bring my stuff with me on the golf trip and then maybe do a drunk as shit Ask Weezy on Thursday or Friday night when I got all my friends around, have some fun with it. It'll be a lot more fun if we do it that way than if we do it with me tonight being like, oh shit, I got to wake up at 6 a.m. and drive 3 hours. So no Ask Weezy tonight. Keep an eye out for the Greasy 4-Leg Parlay on my channel. Keep an eye out for a potential drunk Ask Weezy at some point later on in the week. And let's all stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 291 and bathe in the blood of our vanquished Draftkings enemies. Let's go. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Enjoy the golf trip. It would be cool for you to do like an Ask Weezy while in the golf cart. Just you can ask you questions while you golf, watch you golf. But
that'd be cool.
That would be fun.
Do that. I'll talk to my friends. Let's see if one of them wants to be a cameraman.
Yes, let's go. We will judge you. We will judge your golfing skills, which I hopefully are good, Weezy.
They're all right. Yeah, they're all right. I can hit it a fucking mile. I promise you.
There you go. That's all you need. You need that.
He'll be breaking down that main event, and he'll be, what's your prediction? Justin Gaethje, round 4?
No, I really mean 4. You got to move.
Oh, by the way, I'm going golfing as well tomorrow. I don't know how my foot's going to hold up. I don't know. So we'll see.
See how it feels in the morning, dude.
I mean, already
in the morning, that shit might swell up on you.
Yeah, I already booked the tee time, so I guess I'll just get after it anyway. Monk, let the people know your plans for the rest of the week and content you already have out. And by the way, I'm looking forward to the nickname show. We have some decent ones on this card, right?
Yeah, not too bad. We've got let's see, Zombie Girl, Semi the Jedi, or Semi the Jedi, if you're Demi Moore, however you sit on that line. I mean, El Kakui's always good. We've got some good, the Black Beast, obviously, and we've got some terrible ones too. Miranda Maverick, looking at you. But other than that, Game Theory is out right now on the Monk Maddox channel. You can also watch the nickname show tomorrow, 9 p.m. Central, 10 Eastern. And I believe Salary Voodoo also will be out as well. Other than that, I'm just chilling. Probably going to take the coldest shower ever after this because it is still 101 degrees in Texas. Fucking sun is down. Boy, it is a steamer today. So, yeah, looking forward to getting this day over with, getting in, a cold shower, and then watching these hot fights on Saturday. Let's go.
Ooh. Oh, my. There we go.
I feel you, Monk, man. It's supposed to be like hundreds here tomorrow, and I want to go back to Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never thought I'd say I want to go back to the great, the north. It's just so freaking. It's like they're like it's 75 here. Just like, oh my god. But I don't have to shovel shit ever again. So
fair play.
What?
I don't mean shit. That I realize now people do shovel shit.
Oh, I thought that's what I thought.
That was a bad time to use that. Yeah, I don't shovel shit either, but I'm not going to be shoveling snow. That's for sure.
Hey, Monk, you want to do me a favor?
What's up?
Sneak peek. What do you think of Darius Beast Mode Flowers nickname?
I think it's all right. It's just so it's unoriginal, man. I mean, Marshawn Lynch. I almost called Marshawn Lewis. Marshawn Lynch exists, and that guy probably a way better personality than Darius Flowers overall. There it is. I mean, come on. How perfect can this be?
Beast
plus,
mode.
we have Gordo. We have the Black Beast, which is better than Beast Mode. So automatically downgrade.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Gordo, let the people know where they can find you and what you got out for some content this week.
Yeah, for sure. I've been busy recently, but I still make time to check out a bunch of the shows, including that nickname parlay. So make sure to show some love to everybody around me. I always love talking fights. But you can find all my work at Plays and Fade Sports on YouTube. Full card breakdown, Draftkings, betting, Rainmakers, all the above is on my channel there. Edited timestamp for your viewing pleasure. Also on Twitter at GamblesGordo. Full card of bets will be posted either probably Saturday morning at this rate. I have a tea time Friday night as well, except for the difference is I'm not good. So I don't care if my foot's broken. Just kidding. I hope your foot feels better there, Brady, and I hope you enjoy the trip there, Weezy, as well. But I usually get them out Saturday morning now. Check me on Twitter at GamblesGordo. YouTube, Plays and Fade Sports. Enjoy.
There we go. Looking forward to this week. I'm going live Friday for some final thoughts, and then live once again for some best bet. So be sure to check that out on my channel, DFS by the numbers. And yeah, we did a ton of content throughout the week already. Pub Sports, MMA Engine in my channel as well. So check that out if you haven't already. Best of luck for UFC 291. We'll talk to you guys soon, and we'll see you later.